What's up everyone, Nanman here, and we're doing a modern meta breakdown video. And this time we're going to be looking at all the meta shifts and changes that happened after Modern Horizons 2 came out. And you might be wondering, Modern Horizons 2 is not out yet. Well, it is on Magic Online. Now, this is from the Sunday Modern Challenge event that took place over the weekend, since Modern Horizons 2 came out on Magic Online on Thursday. I did a constructed event already on there, and feels really good to play when you're like, look at this. Fetch lands are my rares. Lands, yes. And then I play against card pools that don't have the fetch lands as their rare. So it's okay. Constructed's weird like that. I'm going to be playing the pre-release this weekend, so we'll see how that goes. But we're going to highlight at least top 8, more or less top 8, because a couple of the lists in the top 8 don't have any cards from Modern Horizon 2. So we're just going to skip them and say, too bad. If you want to be highlighted, play new cards. And then we'll kind of highlight some honorable mentions that did not make the top 8. But first off, let's jump into our first super fun deck. Now I say it's super fun because I like this style of deck, right? I did not play the old school affinity style decks back in the day, but I did start playing these style of affinity decks with hardened scales when they first started cropping up years ago. Now we're seeing a red-green version, specifically because of our newest addition, a legendary creature that we've got here, our Zabez the Glimmerwasp, which is a sweet name. So it's modular 1. If a modular trigger ability would be put on one or more +1 counters on a creature, you put that extra one on there. So it basically is hardened scales specifically for modular triggers. And then it also has the ability to pay 1 red and destroy target artifact. So it's, hey, I need a way sometimes to manipulate my modular triggers and move these counters around. Now you have it attached to this creature. Plus that kind of hardened scales on modular, it seems pretty sweet. So I love the addition of it. It's a 1-drop. A lot of the cards in here are going to be low drop. So we're just going to go quickly through it. We're not going to do a specific deck on it. We're just going to kind of highlight the ins and outs quickly about each of these lists, because we're going to be highlighting 8 lists today. So the consistent creatures that are still in it, right, that you would expect to see, are going to be hanging out with that modular effect, right? Arcbound Ravager, like the #1 top best modular creature that exists for modern, right? So Arcbound Ravager allows you to sacrifice an artifact, put a +1 counter on Arcbound Ravager, and it also has that modular 1. So you've got that ability to manipulate your board with it and move those counters onto things, kill someone right out with an Inkmoth Nexus or something fun like that. Arcbound Worker, nice 1-drop, modular 1, cool. Your land base is going to be slightly tweaked because it is now red-green, so you can be able to use Glimmerwasp's ability. But the all-star standout in here, like you can look through our list and it's like, all right, pretty normal, pretty normal, pretty normal. And then other, because for whatever reason, it's not working on the list post. But don't worry, we've got it here for you guys. Urza's Saga, because it's a saga, it's an enchantment and a land. It's a weird thing. So it's not listed under there, but it does enter as a land as its first lore ability, if you will, so you can tap for a colorless ability. But the second ability is, kind of awesome. It gains the ability to pay 2, tap it, create a 0/0 colorless construct artifact creature token with it gets +1/+1 for each artifact you control. And hey, our deck's full of them. And then of course, search your library for an artifact card with a mana cost of 0 or 1. Well, it just so happens that I have a bunch of those 0 or 1 cost artifacts. This seems great, and I expect to see a playset of this in every type of artifact based deck like this. So I know it's already like $50 or something like that. It's not going to go down. It's not. It's going to be see and play and like a bunch of stuff. So including Commander and stuff. So be aware of that. But I love this addition of the deck going that red-green to already add in our Glimmerwasp. So A+ coming out here for that first place finish. Scrolling on down, second place finish. You're going to see a lot more of these lists. So I'm going to preface with this kind of teamer crashing deck. So you can already see we've got a breeding pool here, but that's not what we really care about. So you're going to have the way this list works, and we might spend more time highlighting this at a later date, but I just quickly go through it as we're highlighting different stuff. So you're going to have powerful planeswalkers in here. Jace, hey, one of the most powerful planeswalkers ever printed. Got to run that in here. Creature base is our ability to kind of manipulate things in a way, right? Bone Crusher Giant. Hey, I've got the ability to deal damage to stuff, and I also have a 4/3 body here. Seems pretty great. Brazen Borrower, bounce things. Oh, and it's also a 3/1 flying, right? Sounds great. Shardless Agent is in here. Sweet, we love it because we want to be able to cast our single sorcery that's in the deck, which we will talk about in a little bit. But Shardless Agent was our newest reprinted card that allows us to kind of go into this cascade type effects for a lot of decks that they want. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. Subtlety, our first indication that we're going to see these type of removal type effects that exist in our hands to be able to do extra stuff. So it's a 3/3 flash flying. You can pay 4 mana to be able to cast it out like that. When it enters the battlefield, choose up to 1 target creature, spell, or planeswalker. Its owner puts it on the top or bottom of their library. You also have Jace to be able to manipulate top of it. You can also do its evoke cost here, which you can exile a blue card from your hand, and hey, it enters the battlefield for that evoke cost, and then you have to get rid of it next turn kind of thing. So there is that, but it's basically saying I get to manipulate and delay, which is a lot of what, hey, Brazen Borrow is going to be delaying, right? That's kind of the name of the game with this. Crashing Foothills is our cascade spell that we're trying to target, which is going to be able to create 2 4/4 green rhino creature tokens. And you know what's wonderful is you have Jason here, so you can be able to brainstorm. 0, draw 3 cards, put 2 on top of your library in any order. So if I have Crashing Foothills in my hand, I can put it on top, cast Shardless Agent, bam, there's my rhinos. So very, very powerful. Cryptic Command is in here. Fire and Ice is in here as well. We've also got Force of Negation, as you expect, and Violent Outburst to kind of help us have more ways to hit that Crashing Foothills. It also has the ability to make your creatures you control get +1/+0 until the end of turn. So that's the way we're going. Teamer, good stuff. All right, I'm going to cascade into these 4/4 rhinos, and there's 2 of them, so be ready to deal with a bunch of 4/4s. That's kind of scary. Also, I can manipulate and just bounce a bunch of stuff, so you're going to be having a hard time. So really cool list. We'll spend more time diving in deeper into these teamer lists because they're starting to crop up a little bit more. I know people are going to start trying to find the best version of it as more people are testing, because as the first event, it's a lot more of availability. How many people had this in their collection, or how quickly were they able to get this into their collection to be able to use these cards. All right, going into third place. Pretty standard, pretty normal to be seeing our Niv Mizzet Omnath style of list. I'm quickly going to highlight it specifically because of our newest addition here, which, hey, we've got a new legendary to be able to play with, and it cares about multicolored spells, because guess what? This list is just full of multicolored spells, right? So it seems like it's the way to go if we just run all multicolored spells, with the only singleton being Utopian Sprawl to help us get mana fixing and drawing cards. But the way it works is we're just going to get a bunch of tokens again. Hey, who likes 4/4s? Apparently everybody in Modern right now. So whenever you cast a multicolored spell, create a 4/4 red and white golem artifact creature token. It's also just a 3/1 human soldier here, General Furious Rockrick. So he's pretty sweet. I actually played against him in Sealed and got demolished by him. So yeah, that was fun. But this is another way that you're going to start seeing him crop up a little bit more, especially in this type of shell where your multicolored spells matter. Like going for these 4/4 tokens, yes, seems good. I hope everyone's getting ready to dust off their ratchet bombs so they can start blowing up all these tokens. So moving right along, again, we'll highlight these in greater detail going forward. Our next addition, hey, we've got our creature planeswalker here, Grist the Hungering Tide. Awesome design for this. 3 loyalty planeswalkers seem to just like fit in perfectly for modern, right? It's that sweet spot. But the benefit of this one is that you have the ability to tutor up this guy and be able to start generating power on the board. It's so great. So when he's not on the battlefield, he counts as a 1/1 insect. Now his converted mana cost in this regard is a 3 converted mana cost. So if you're courting, you have to be able to cord for 3 to be able to get him. Eldritch Evolution, in this regard, you need to sacrifice something that costs 2 or 1, either way, right? Because it has to be X is 2 plus the sacrifice creature's converted mana cost. So it has to be in that kind of window. But we've got plenty of stuff. So if you're wondering about this list, how this kind of works out, we're going to be running our Yawgmoth Thran Physician here, which is our kind of proliferate, sacrifice our own creatures, be able to bring them back from the graveyard with our Undying. Right, we're being able to drain you off of Drawl's Messenger. You just have this sort of manipulation power level that you're going to be kind of doing. It's a sweet toolbox deck. I love toolbox lists. We've highlighted this on the channel before, so if you have not seen this, I'm sure there'll be a link up on the channel right now on the screen, so you guys can be able to go and see our previous deck tech and discussion of it. Now, as you've noticed, we're not talking about any of the sideboard cards here. We're just sort of quickly going through kind of what is in the list. And it's pretty much tried and true of what you'd expect of the Thran style of list. Nothing's really jumping out other than, hey, we've got our Cradle of Growth here, so all of our lands are forests. We've, of course, got Urborg in here as well, so everything is also swamp. So have fun with that. But I wanted to highlight that with Griston here. Here we go. Let's go, guys. It's something completely new that did not exist in Modern, and I'm not even going to attempt it. So our Asmo here, because it's got the longest name, and I've watched the videos of people pronouncing it, but I have not practiced it, and I probably should have for this video, but it's our Asmo build, okay? So if you're familiar with the Cauldron Familiar stuff that was running around Historic, running around Standard, it's the like Jund Sacrifice style list, right? It's very similar to that style of play here, but instead of it being Jund, right, we're going to be pulling on power of blue so we can be able to get some of our powerful artifacts back with Emery here. So we've got Mishra's Bauble, Underworld Cookbook, Witch's Oven. All right, we're going to keep getting more food tokens to help us along with this. You know, you've got the ability to return different things. Our Troll King is super powerful. The list is going to be super cool. So if you're not familiar, whenever you discard a card, you can pay a red or a black and be able to cast our Asmo here. And he's a 3/3. And then you get to be able to find your Underworld Cookbook with him. Sacrifice 2 food, tap target creature deals 6 damage to itself. So you can start kind of blowing up opponent's creatures with that. And you've got ways to be able to generate food. Seems like a good way to do it. So we will definitely be doing a deck tech on this one. And hey, check that out. We're going to be rocking Urza Saga as well in this list because we have a bunch of artifacts like Witch's Oven, Underworld Cookbook, Mishra's Bauble that costs 1 or 0 in this regard that we care about, that we want to be adding up and finding and tutoring up with Urza Saga. So we'll definitely be highlighting the Asmo list in a later date, but again, we're just quick speed through kind of our top couple of lists to show you just how much Modern Horizons 2 will be affecting things. Quickly here with this, it's a blue-white control list, right? Nothing too crazy. Cool thing about this is we're running 1 Brainstone in here. You know, Brainstorm seems great, and we're also going to be running our Prismatic Ending. So it's got that convert, exile target non-land permanent if its mana cost is less than or equal to the number of colors spent to cast this. So a lot of times something that costs 2 or less is worth being able to exile. So pretty nice. So people are testing out this. So just quick highlight for that. 7th and 8th, we're just going to sort of quickly branch over. Hey, Profane Tutor is getting run in our, you know, fun little Phyrexian Unlife, Thassa's Oracle. Yeah, it's ad nauseum, guys. So we'll do an updated deck tech for it once everything settles and everything for that. We did recently talk about ad nauseum, so again, you can see that list up on the screen for you guys to be able to enjoy. But hey, Profane Tutor, A+. We definitely want that in there. Being able to have more tutor effects, yes, that definitely helps. And our 8th place, it's Eldrazi Tron. Yeah. Yep. Nothing. No new cards. Nothing. Okay, cool. That's what I expected. All right, so jump into the fun stuff, right? So we'll highlight our last couple stuff real quick. If you're still watching, thanks. Glad you guys are enjoying. You wanted to see the fun stuff at the end here. So if you weren't familiar with this sort of list, it's kind of like a Soul Sisters style of deck, but we've got some new tools, new toys to play with here. Abiding Grace, it's an enchantment that costs 3. Beginning of your end step, you can choose to either gain a life or return a creature card with a mana cost of 1 from your graveyard to the battlefield. We've got a bunch of 1-cost stuff. Look at all of these fun things that we can be able to do, right? So have that ability to bring back some of these fun things that have ETB type effects that we do. But it's, so Murder Sands, you have a 1/1 for 1, pay 1, reveal X white creatures from your hand, and then sacrifice Murder Sands, and you gain 3 times that X value. Seems fun. If I have 3 cards in my hand, I reveal all 3 of them because they're going to be white, because the whole deck only has white spells, then I'm going to be gaining 9 life. I've sacrificed it, but I get to bring it back. So that's a little fun manipulation here. Ranger is going to help you find those little powerful things like Sarah Ascendant with all this life gain. You can start swinging in for 6 lifelink flying damage every turn. Get that clock going here. Skyclave in here to help kind of get rid of problems, as well as our Solitude. Again, we've talked about how these evoke creatures are going to be a big deal. So people are testing them out. This is a great list for it, where you're running all these white cards. I'm exiling a white card, boom, and now I'm going to be exiling one of your cards and Swords to Plowshare it. Squadron Hawk in here, find more Squadron Hawks. We're going to get clues. Walking Ballistas in here. Again, sort of removal, just sort of exiling. Exile. So super cool list. We can highlight this more if people are interested. It's just sort of a quick, let's hop in there, talk about it. 29th place. Only reason we're going to highlight it is because Upheaval. Someone is trying to make this work. It's, hey, we're going to cast a bunch of these 0-cost type effects. We've got ways to generate mana, draw cards, get things back, and bounce all your stuff, and then we'll be able to replay our stuff. Seems like a super fun and annoying deck to play against, but seems fun to be able to manipulate this sort of list in that regard. So that's what we're going to highlight. It was a quick first look of things as we jumped into it. We will be doing a more in-depth look at a lot of these decks. If there's a particular list that you want to hear more about and really get down and dirty, talk about sideboard cards, talk about why people are running specific cards, let me know in the comments down below, and we will pick that as our next Modern Meta Breakdown video. This one is kind of our first look. We got our finger on the pulse, finding out what players are testing out, since the set's not even available in paper form yet. It's really just sort of just going to start trickling in. A lot of the pre-release events are happening this weekend, so we wanted to kind of get in and get that kind of first glance of what people are going to be starting to test out in Modern. So I hope you guys have been enjoying this video. Thanks so much for tuning in and watching, and I'll see you guys next game. Hey everyone, Nanman here. I'm a StarCraft 2 and Magic the Gathering content maker and commentator. Thanks for tuning in and watching, guys. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and check the description for more information about other content that I'm doing. I've also got a new podcast, Nanman's Nerd Corner, which you guys can find out on Spotify or iTunes. It's got a bunch of Magic content as well as other stuff. Thanks for tuning in and watching, and I'll see you guys next game.